Hello, welcome to the library. If you don't know who we are, we're Alexandria. I'm the Chief Librarian. I'm not a real librarian. I just LARP as one. And Alexandria RPG, we're a non-profit role-playing game library. We travel to events, we share the history of role-playing games, we bring GMs to run games, get people excited about role-playing games, and I joke that we act as RPG sommeliers. We try to find the right game for somebody. Hey, do you want to play Star Trek? Great. Do you want to play horror? Great. You want to play Power Rangers? You want to play Cyberpunk? You want to experience another culture? Coyote and Crow. I mean, there's these are all books here that I'm going to do little shorts on to hopefully get people excited about role-playing games. This is stuff that I've been wanting to do anyways. Been trying to force myself to sit down and do shorts, and I've started them, and all of the OGL stuff has been exploding. So when the OGL 1.1 was leaked, I was frustrated with it. I told people, I was like, hey, this was done on purpose. It was kind of a litmus test to see how many people they could get to sign. But I said, they're doing this to come in with what they really want. And I was going to do a video today on the 2 non-apologies that they had. And, well, they just dropped their 1.2 playtest OGL. And I do also want to address, we rolled a 1. No. They got caught trying to roll loaded dice. They didn't roll a 1. They legit were caught trying to use loaded dice. So here we are looking at their little statement about their 1.2. I'm going to read snippets of it, the things that really got me riled up. So, for over 20 years, thousands of creators have helped grow the tabletop RPG communities using a shared set of game mechanics. And that's very true. The OGL was super important. The industry had just collapsed in the late 90s. TSR was running around suing everybody, which is partly why TSR had the issues it did. And the original OGL was that promise that WotC was going to be there and not go after you. And there was no big business provisions or anything because they understood that other companies needed to do something to survive. They needed to have a wide platform to get people, playing and out there again. So 23 years nearly have gone by, and great things have been done. So things were... So they say, we're doing 2 things. We're giving the core D&D mechanics to the community through Creative Commons license, which means they are fully in your hands. BS. They're using one of the Creative Commons license because there's a variety of them. And you'll see why I call BS. And said 2, if you want to use quintessentially D&D content from the SRD, such as owlbears and magic missiles, OGL 1.2 will provide you perpetual, irrevocable, there's provisions to revoke, license to do so. So, if you don't know what the Creative Commons is, they're a non-profit organization. Basically, their biggest thing is the Linux license. So, that's why you have a million different variations of Linux, because the core tenets of Linux licensing and everything is done through the Creative Commons. And I have said that the OGL 1A needs to be put out into Creative Commons and have Wizards Coast walk away. And they start their new own licensing that they have control over 1D&D. And they move forward from there, and it'll be the same as what they tried to do for 4th edition, and part of the reason why 4th Ed failed, because there was almost 0 third-party support. So, let's talk OGL 1.2, and the important ways it's different from 1.0a. First, it allows us to address hateful content. Second, it only applies to published tabletop RPG content, including on VTTs. Third, this license specifically includes the word irrevocable, with provisions to revoke, because their first negates their third. And they're like, what's not in there? There's no royalties, no financial reporting, no license back, no registration, no distinction between commercial and non-commercial. So all of that was strategically put into 1.1 to get people super riled up. Because people are like, oh, what about, people on YouTube? Great. We have fair use laws. Wizards of the Coast couldn't go after people playing D&D on stream. It is legally impossible. I know everybody likes to bring up Nintendo. Nintendo has far deeper pockets and was super lawsuit happy on everything. And they got some people on technicalities, not technically playing, but yeah, Nintendo loves to go after everybody, and because there's no other, unlike the tabletop industry, there's nobody that is willing to push back against Nintendo. That's why Nintendo wins there. But in the tabletop industry, specifically in the role-playing industry, we have tons of companies that are pushing back. We have, the amount of support within the industry against this is bonkers. So, they're going to point out some details here. So, protecting D&D's inclusive play experience. As I said above, the content more clearly associated with D&D, like classes, spells, and monsters, is what falls under the OGL. So, technically, if you see that OGL 1.2 lets us act when offensive or hurtful content is published using the covered D&D stuff, so the OGL doesn't cover D&D stuff. It literally says, hey, you can use this SRD, the System Reference Document. And getting around the SRD is so easy. You don't need the OGL. Take advantage and disadvantage. To use it the OGL way, you just cut and paste advantage and disadvantage out of the SRD, and you put the OGL 1.0A in your book, or say this was done under OGL, and you can copy and paste out of the SRD the advantage disadvantage rules. You know what you do? Advantage is now a blessing. Hey, roll with blessing, or instead of disadvantage, roll with curse, and you reword it just a little bit. You now have your unique language describing a game mechanic, and it no longer is covered under the OGL or part of the SRD. That's how easy it is to not use the OGL. It's not that hard. So, we want an inclusive, safe play experience for everyone. This is deeply important to us. The OGL 1.0A didn't give the ability to ensure that. So, name me all the offensive games that have been put out under the OGL 1.0A. I'll wait. There may be a couple in the comments here, but yeah, they don't really exist. If somebody wants to put out a horrible, hateful, evil thing, they can do it. They've just got to find a publisher to do it, but I guarantee there's a publisher somewhere. You could you can buy your own printer and print your own books and hand stitch them and send them out to people. But Wizards of the Coast isn't going to stop you. And they were like, with D&D content was what one of their apologies said. Well, great. The OGL 1.0A never covered D&D content. So you couldn't use, a mind flayer in your stuff, because it legit says in the 1.0A that you cannot use D&D copyright or Wizards copyrighted stuff. So they just, we want to be able to stop somebody from using similar mechanics because we don't like their game. Get out of here. Tabletop RPGs and virtual tabletops. OGL 1.2 will only apply to tabletop content, whether published as books, as electronic publications, or on virtual tabletops. Nobody needs to wonder or worry if it applies to anything else. It doesn't. Great. It didn't before. It didn't cover NFTs that you brought up before. That was a red herring. It didn't cover blockchain. That was a red herring, because none of that fit. And funny, Hasbro has NFTs. So, deauthorizing OGL 1.0a. We know this is a big concern. The Creative Commons license and the open terms of the 1.2 are intended to help with that. One key reason why we have to deauthorize. We can't use the protective options in 1.2 if someone can just publish harmful, discriminatory, or illegal content under 1.0a. And again, any content you have already published under OGL 1.0a will always be licensed under OGL 1.0a. We know that. That has been said from the get-go. Everyone's like, hey, because that was people's worry. And many of us within the community said, hey, if it's already published, they can't do anything about it because it's a pre-existing agreement. All they want with the 1.1, it was as soon as 1.1 comes out, 1 and 1A are gone, and you can't publish anything new under those. They're saying the exact same thing here, but they sound like they're giving something back. And they say very limited license changes allowed. Only 2 sections can be changed once OGL 1.2 is live. How you cite wizards in your work and how we can contact each other. We don't know what the future holds or what technologies. Yeah, old books have AOL keywords and stuff in them, which I find amusing. Great, whatever. And if Wizards is spun off from Hasbro, becomes another company, they get to update the license with Company X in the future's name. Elon Musk buys Wizards of the Coast, and it becomes RPG X Company, whatever. He likes to name everything X. So, that, yeah, whatever. And then they go on with trying to say, you own your content. Wizards doesn't have any license back. Again, this is all them going, oh, we had this idea, we kind of threw out this boilerplate thing, and we're reining that in. We're not going to do that. They go back over the hateful stuff. Now, you can download the OGL 1.2 draft play. It's only 6 pages. And the first page is like, hey, here's logos you can do. So when the original OGL came out, they did a trademark for the D20 logo. Said, hey, if you want to, here's the OGL. Anybody can use this. But if you want to be associated with Wizards and D20, you agree to this license and you get to use these. And Wizards let the trademark lapse, so the D20 logo went away. Which, that was their way to control what was associated with them. Pathfinder has the same thing. Pathfinder, you can make anything you want that's Pathfinder compatible, but if you want to be in the Pathfinder system or be recognized, like, they have an agreement, and they will review your product and they go, yeah, this is cool, we like that. Please don't fall for this freaking 1.2. So I'm going to go straight to, where'd it go? Hang on. Okay, so no harmful content or conduct. You will not include content in your licensed works that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing, or engage in conduct that is hateful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing. We have the sole right to decide what content or conduct is hateful, and your covenant is that you will not contest any such determination via any suit or other legal action. So you work hard, you produce this 1.2 compatible thing, you put it out on Kickstarter, and it gets $2 million in backing. And you get the books in hand, and they go, oh, hey, you tweeted out a joke 3 years ago that was hateful. That's conduct that we don't approve. So your OGL 1.2 license is terminated. There's so much vagary. Things that are okay right now will be obscene or discriminatory or harassing next year. When I was a kid, it was the somebody in a wheelchair was handicapped. Then in the 90s and 2000s, it became they were disabled. And now, if you call somebody handicapped, many people consider that harassing. And now the term is differently able is what it's changing to. So this right here voids everything. Do not trust how vague and open that is. They're the only people that get to choose what is hateful, illegal, obscene, harassing. We have sole right to decide what conduct or content is hateful. That is bonkers. That clause allows them to destroy anybody that signs up with this. Do not let them fool you into thinking that, oh, we're really coming back. They're not going to change anything. They're not going to get rid of this clause because, oh, we're being good guys. They have married their open license with copyrighted content so that they can have control. We may immediately terminate your license if you infringe any of our intellectual property, bring an action challenging our ownership of our licensed content, trademarks, or patents, violate any law in relation to your activities under this law, or violate Section 6F, which is the hateful content or conduct policy. We don't need to go over anything. All of the other things in here. Oh, waiver of a jury trial also, which I find everything. Man, I have not been so angry because this is playing out exactly how I said it would. Please do not back down from this. Please, if you're a if you're a YouTuber, or if you're putting things on Twitter or Reddit or 4chan or Tumblr or whatever, continue this conversation. Please, don't let this become the norm. The only thing acceptable for Wizards of the Coast to do right now is to push the 1.0A into Creative Commons with a generic SRD, and you don't even need those. Again, you can rewrite every single one of those mechanics in the SRD. Read through it, see how it's written, go, oh, I like this mechanic or I hate this mechanic, and do it. And then if you sit down with any attorney that does anything about copyright or IP law, they will tell you you can publish your book that says compatible on it. Especially if you're, my age or older, growing up through the 80s and 90s, and you saw IBM compatible, DOS compatible, they didn't pay DOS right. They didn't pay Microsoft the right to put DOS compatible on their product. And there's plenty of lawsuits over that term. So you could make the most horrible, hate-filled book that uses none of their OGL, none of their SRD, nothing from D&D. You rewrite everything, and then you write compatible with Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition, on the cover. They can't say anything. So all of their grandstanding about no hateful content or conduct is just BS. It is a tool that they will use to beat companies down, to take their... Imagine sitting there with $2 million in sales, and the books are sitting in a warehouse that you cannot ship because you no longer have that license, because you had that successful Kickstarter. You created this awesome book, and bam, they tell you that a tweet that you had 3 years ago, or you said something wrong in a video, or they find terminology somewhere in your book hateful, or illegal, or obscene, or harassing, or discriminatory, because those are super vague terms, to be honest. They can destroy anyone using this license. It is not acceptable. This is horrible. No one out... Okay, I'm getting really angry. I'm gonna go calm down because I have a whole lot of shorts to do. I mean, there's tons of great... All these games in here, they don't use OGLs. You want to play in a Norse game with runes instead of dice? You want to play Star Trek? You want to play Dinosaurs in Space? You want to play Nordic Horror, Cyberpunk, Red Dwarf, Toon, Rifts, Dungeon Crawl Classic, Endless Realms, Alien? Endless Realms, a lot of fun. 2D10 system. I mean, there's just so much in here. I mean, even old Wizards of the Coast game. Ars Magica. This was made by Wizards of the Coast. Well, this one was Atlas Games, so this is post Wizards of the Coast. But I mean, there's so many games in here. There's so much out there for you to play and do that you don't have to deal with a contract that mixes an open game license that is irrevocable with the most revocable policy in it that can be used to cripple and destroy companies in the most vague way possible. So please keep up. Just be positive about everything. Don't go after people at Wizards Coast. They're amazing people that are working there. I know plenty of people that work there, and they're awesome people. They're having to deal with the fallout of this. Just get out on social media and talk about the amazing games that you have played. Talk about your memories and your history. Talk about that time when you rolled a 1, when you needed to, and everybody in the party was wiped out, or the time that last night we were playing on stream and I rolled a 20, rolled max damage, and rolled it was great. It was funny. It was hilarious, because how often do you max 3 die rolls in a row of 3 different types of dice? It just doesn't happen. It means next game I'm probably going to roll abysmal. But talk to people about awesome games that are out there. There's thousands upon thousands of games. In the library, we have over 6,000 books. We suggest games to people all the time. If you still love 5th edition, continue to play 5th edition. But don't fall for this "we're doing good" BS. This is horrible, and you don't need any lawyer to look at this and go, nope. I mean, if you're a millennial, especially if you're Gen Z, you've literally grown up around social media your entire life. I mean, in high school, how many times did you see somebody get destroyed over a bad tweet, or a Facebook post, or a Snapchat? Oh, jeez. I mean, so many things can be done wrong in this. So be positive. Go do some great things. Remember when TSR made fun games like Marvel, and get out there and go game. Enjoy yourselves. Be awesome to other people. Create some stories and memories with each other. And until we meet again, the library is now closed.